Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Literally What. It's hump day, we're halfway there. We are almost to the weekend and I'm not even going to talk about the date. I cannot believe it's in the almost BER months, which are my favorite, but the fact that this year is almost over, I can't comprehend that. But hi everyone, I am so excited to be sitting down with you guys. There is so much to talk about. We have a great episode for you as always. Make sure you stay to the end because we did bring back our Literally What segment, which for those who remember when it used to be a thing, it's basically just a space for you guys to write in. I kind of think of it as just your own journal. To me, everything is anonymous. A lot of times people just write in needing advice on certain things, but you can also write in if something crazy happened to you or if you just want to write something in and get people's input, just have it read aloud, just whatever you honestly want to write in. There's links pretty much everywhere. It's always in my description. It's in my Instagram bio. You can also just DM me or email me if you want to write in. So we have a couple really good submissions that we're going to read at the end. We also have our Love Island reunion recap, which I have so much to say. It's not even crazy. Not even funny. Hello. I'm already speaking crazy today. We have Bachelorette hometown recap. And then before getting all to that fun stuff, we have our just typical stories that we talk about, some gossip, just some things that are going on. So I think that's all the housekeeping I have. This weekend, though, my life changed because we finally got a Costco membership. And when we were back up in Georgia, we obviously went to Costco all the time, and then we moved down to Florida and just put it on the back burner. And I waited way too long because we went, and my life is amazing now because we bought paper towels, toilet paper, just a ton of stuff that I tend to buy all the time and run out of. But I bought it in bulk, so now I don't have to buy it for months now, which is such a game changer. But Costco, you are literally psychotic. We went there on Sunday and we got there 10 minutes before it actually even opened because we had to get our pictures taken. Guys, there were literally, the whole parking lot was full and everyone was already in the Costco and it wasn't even open yet. So next time we go, it will definitely be on a weekday because that was insane. But I love you, Costco. I will always love you. And it's one of my favorite places to go. And I can't believe that I waited so long to get a membership down here. I feel like my brain, I have very much ADD, all of that fun stuff. So I pretty much don't really do anything unless I absolutely am forced to, or if I get that kind of rush of, oh, I want to do this. And, it happens to me all the time, especially when it comes to cleaning. If you guys know that, I will get a burst of random energy and I'll rearrange the entire living room or our bedroom. And then my husband will come home from work and be like, okay, so you got a little burst of energy. And then I'll stop midway and then make him finish whatever I started. So that's just my brain. And, what can you do? But anyway, that was a lot of fun. I guess I'm just ready to get into all of the hot gossip, hot take, stories, and advice that will have you saying, literally what? Okay, first story that is the most important story to me, and that is Post Malone's new album release. It came out finally. It has been on repeat nonstop. And you guys, I am not a country music lover. I don't think I'll ever really find myself at a country concert. I never am listening to it unless I'm with other people, specifically if I'm on a boat or something and they're putting it on. But I'm not a country music lover. I don't hate it, but it's never my genre. If you look at my Spotify Wrapped, I don't think country's ever been in there at all. But you guys know my love for Post Malone, and my love for Post Malone spans years and years and years. And when you love someone, sometimes you got to sacrifice things. And even though I don't love country music, I do love him and I do love his music. And I have been listening to it and I've been learning to love it. And I'm going to his concert in October. So I have to get over my, country music. I don't want to say hatred, but, I don't love it as much as Beer Bongs and Bentleys and his other albums, but I'm learning to love it because that's what you do when you're a fan. But anyway, so he released his album and then he kind of pulled a Taylor Swift. I think when Taylor released her last album, she also released a second double album, as a surprise. And he did that exact same thing to us. He posted the same day of his release that he came out with a extended version, which is called The Long Bed. And it's 9 extra songs that are just him. So if you guys have not listened to his album or heard anything about him, basically the album is him. He has a couple songs of him just singing solo, but really it's him in collaboration with tons of different country artists. So Dolly Parton, Jelly Roll, Luke Bryan, Morgan Wallen, Brad Paisley, Hank Williams Jr., like so many people. And I was thinking to myself, because obviously he's starting his tour next month, and I was like, how is he going to be performing all of these songs if there's so many people, you know, on the album with him? And then when he put out those 9 songs, I was like, okay, maybe that'll give him some extra songs to sing on tour that's just him. Obviously, I'm hoping he'll sing some older songs and it's not just strictly a country concert. But I'm still gonna wear cowgirl boots to the concert. Don't worry, I'm not gonna be like that big of a hater. I'll still act like I'm going to a country concert. But another thing I was thinking of for this concert is I really think he's going to bring out a different person with him in every city. And if he doesn't, then he should, because I think that's going to be really interesting. And actually, one of my best friends who I'm going to the concert with, she's so funny. We were talking about, like, I wonder who he would bring out, because we're going to the show in Atlanta in October. And she literally, I think I am very detail-oriented, organized, like, very particular. I feel like she surpasses me in that way. And she wrote out every single guest singer that he has on his album and looked up all of like their concerts, looked up everything around the time of our concert in October. And she would write like available or not available and where they would be the night of our concert. So we have it narrowed down. I'm hoping it's Dolly Parton, even though I cannot see her going to freaking Atlanta for a concert. But she's available. I think I'll have to look at who else. I actually might have it on my computer saved. I feel like we're going to get Morgan Wallen, and he is available, but I'm going to actually be really upset because he's not my favorite person. How do I see images? Hello? Am I just dumb? Okay, well, I don't know. Basically, there are like half of the people who are on his album that could show up in Atlanta. The other half can't. And we'll see if I get anyone. We'll see who he brings out. But yeah, Post Malone, go stream his new album because it's actually really, really good. Some of the songs that are on there are a little too like country hillbilly for me, but some of them are still. And honestly, the thing with Post Malone and why like I love him so much, it's honestly his voice. There's something about his voice. It's so unique. Even though I'm not a country person, just his voice on the songs is so good that I'm like fine listening to it because I just love his voice. And I'm so excited for the concert. I actually cannot wait. And I really hope that he brings out different people because that'd be kind of crazy. So yeah, that's our first story. So now let's hop into our second story, which is kind of like a 2-parter because you guys know Dancing with the Stars. When I first started this podcast, I covered it pretty much every week. And next month, September, I'm pretty sure it's starting, and we have some rumors of contestants. Obviously, when you sign a contract, if you're going to be on Dancing with the Stars, like you cannot tell anyone because it's very like tight-lipped who's going to be on the cast until they announce it on Good Morning America. So we do have some rumors that we're going to be talking about. Another thing is Julianne Hough. So she's obviously coming back to host with Alfonso for this season. And she was on Watch What Happens Live, which if you don't know, it's basically just like 20-minute quick show that they talk about just reality stuff that's going on. And they'll bring different celebrities. And it's normally 2 people that are going on for, you know, that show. And so it was Julianne Hough and she was with someone else. I don't know who it was. And part of the show was you have people write in and ask questions. And one of the questions was asking her if she thought there was anyone who won Dancing with the Stars that she disagreed with, which honestly, like, that's kind of a like, what? There's some questions people ask in interviews. I'm like, why would you even ask that? Like, that just is gonna hurt people's feelings. But she kind of paused. Like, she didn't say anything. She was just kind of thinking in her head. And the girl next to her answered for her and said Bobby Bones, which if you don't know, I forget what season it was, but it was a major deal. It was this guy named Bobby Bones. I think he was a radio host or something, like couldn't dance, and he was against Alexis Ren, Whitney, and Milo. Like all the other 3 were amazing dancers, and then it was him, and obviously he was getting moved up because of his fan base. And so the woman that she was sitting next to said Bobby Bones, and then Julianne kind of agreed and was like, well, yeah, because he wasn't the best dancer, but you know, he did win because of his fan base. And I believe after that season, that is when Dancing with the Stars kind of changed the way that voting was affecting people. And this happens, I feel like, a lot, especially when Harry Jowsey was on Dancing with the Stars. The more, I feel like, followers and the more popular you are, you're going to get more votes. That's just how it is. And so I think Dancing with the Stars has tried to do better about making sure the judges' scores are, you know, a lot higher percentage than just the fan base, because then at the end of the day, it's just going to be a popularity contest and not necessarily who's growing in the Dancing with the Stars space. And even if you started out as not a good dancer, maybe you made your way up and you did become a better dancer. So I think it just depends on why you watch the show. Like, I get frustrated when there's someone that's not a good dancer, but they have so many, you know, so many fans that they're getting moved up, like with the whole Harry Jowsey situation. Like, he sucked, but he kept getting moved and pushed, and people who actually were working really hard and good dancers were getting sent home because of the fan base. So we'll see this season what happens, because yeah, at the end of the day, like, it can sometimes be a popularity contest, and that's, you know, not what it's supposed to be. But yeah, so all these headlines are saying, like, Julianne Hough said that Bobby Bones, like, shouldn't have won. And it's like, well, the other girl kind of answered for her, and then she just kind of agreed because that was a whole thing when he ended up winning the mirror ball. But yeah, so that was just interesting. And, you know, it's funny because headlines are always like that, where you'll read a headline and you're like, what? And then if you go and actually watch it, or you go and read the full statement, it's like they totally took it out of context. And, you know, that's just how the world and tabloids are. But she didn't say it. She just, like, agreed, because that was a pretty obvious. And so anyway, I thought that was just an interesting little story. But getting into Dancing with the Stars news, we have 2 rumored contestants who might be coming on the show. First one is Joey the Bachelor, which I cannot tell you how excited I am. That is amazing casting, if it is true on their part, because he was such a loved person, probably one of the most popular bachelors I think we've had, and just, like, people in Bachelor Nation in general. The other is Gary Turner, who I personally, I don't like, but, you know, he was relevant, and, you know, I didn't really want to see him on my screen again. But you know, we know when there are older contestants who can't really dance, they typically don't last very long on the show. But yeah, Bachelor Nation people are definitely always a good get for Dancing with the Stars. I'm just very interested in who else they are going to bring on. And again, these are rumored. But, you know, typically when there's a rumor and some things, whisperings, it's typically true when it comes to Dancing with the Stars contestants. And we'll see who else they can start grabbing. I've heard rumors about, like, Tom Sandoval and SCHEANA, and I'm just like, please, God, please do not let that happen. Please, begging you, please don't let that happen. So yeah, we're just getting started with the Dancing with the Stars, you know, gossip, and I'm very excited to recap it when the show comes back, because it's definitely my favorite show in the world to watch and talk about with you guys. So yeah, next story is, you know, not all that surprising, and it is that J.Lo filed for divorce from Ben Affleck after 2 years. So their relationship has been kind of crazy. They got engaged, I think it was either 2002 or 2004, and then they never ended up getting married. And then he was with you know, the other, what's her name? Jennifer Garner, I believe. I can see her face. I'm so good with faces, but, like, names, no. But they were together for like 20 years, and then J.Lo was married a couple times, and then they reunited and got back together 2 years ago. And then the past few months, there have just been a ton of headlines about them not wearing wedding rings, and, you know, them staying in different places, and are they separated, blah, blah, blah. And again, like, we didn't have any concrete proof, so it was just kind of like rumors going on, and people just kind of like watching their every move and what they were doing. But now it's finally official. So it's actually interesting though, because the day that she filed was the 2-year anniversary of their second wedding ceremony. So I believe they had 2 different wedding ceremonies, but whatever the second ceremony was, I think they got married in Georgia, she filed on that anniversary. And when she listed the separation date, it was back in April 26th. So I think when all the rumors were going on about them being separated, it was definitely true, because they've been separated since April, and she filed. So kind of sad, but also, you know, clearly it just wasn't meant to be for them. And who knows where they're going to go from here. If, you know, maybe 20 years down the road again, they're going to get back together, and that would be, yeah, that would kind of be like Ron Swanson and Tammy, if you guys watch Parks and Rec. But anyway, it's official, so now the rumors can stop, and now we can see who they're gonna get together with. That's always so interesting. Like when celebrities break up, it's like, who are they gonna go after? Who's gonna go after them? Or, you know, is it just gonna be like a little fling, or is it gonna be, you know, they're gonna go and jump into another serious relationship? That's just me being nosy, as usual. Okay, our next story is some Emmys news. We have our official hosts of the Emmys that are going to be happening in less than a month, September 15th, and that is Eugene and Dan Levy, who are from Schitt's Creek, one of my all-time favorite shows, and they will be hosting the 76th Annual Emmy Awards, and this is going to be the first time a father and son duo has hosted the Emmys, and the chairman of the Television Academy said that we are thrilled to welcome two generations of comedy geniuses to the Emmys stage as hosts. I personally love this duo, not only because of Schitt's Creek, but they just, like, I love seeing families work together. And if you didn't know, if you've watched Schitt's Creek, so Eugene and Dan are obviously like father son, but Twyla from the show Schitt's Creek is also in their family. So she's his daughter and his brother. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Which I just think is so cool. And I wasn't planning on watching the Emmys, but I think I definitely will, just to see them, especially when we've had, you know, the hosts from other shows this past year that haven't been the greatest. I think this is a really good pick. So whoever picked them, great job. And I'm excited to watch it. Okay, this story, I'm just like so annoyed with this. If you're in the reality TV show world, you guys know that I was watching The Valley, which was kind of like a spin-off, I guess, of Vanderpump Rules, and just following families who were living in the Valley and kind of getting out of that city nightlife and, you know, had young kids, blah, blah, blah. And I actually really enjoyed the first season, but then a ton of stuff came out about, you know, the couples divorcing and separating, and Jax and Brittany. You know, a lot has been going on with Jax, which I haven't really talked about, but I think he went into a mental health facility, and like now him and Brittany can't even be in the same room together. So there's been a lot of questions about how they're going to go about filming season 2 when like half of the main couples aren't even together anymore. And when Vanderpump Rules, when that was announced that they were kind of like shutting down filming, a lot of people assumed that LALA and SCHEANA would try to get on The Valley because, you know, they're all about getting that paycheck and being on TV and having all the attention on them. And everyone was like, please no, like, do not put them on The Valley. Like, they're not the most, they're not the favorite cast members when it comes to Vanderpump and just Bravo reality TV. I don't know why, like, whenever I sit, I'm like, whenever I sit for too long, my freaking legs. Okay. I think we're better now. But what was I saying? My brain. Anyway, yeah. So basically the whole fan base was like, please don't bring them on The Valley. And, you know, I think a producer, someone said like, no, we're not going to bring them on. But now they're apparently filming The Valley season 2. And it has been confirmed. We don't know if they're going to be main characters on the show or if they have just been filming different scenes with the cast. Because again, what the hell they're going to be filming when half the couples aren't even together anymore. So I think it'll be definitely interesting to see if the show's going to shift at all, because it was following these families and now they're not together anymore. I will say, though, if SCHEANA and LALA become a part of this show, I'm most likely not going to be watching and recapping, which I'm really upset about because it was kind of cool watching The Valley and just like watching something different and watching people, you know, who do have kids, and it's not just like these single people running all around, you know, I don't know. It was just more interesting for me to watch, but I think that if they do bring them on, they're going to lose a lot of viewers. And even just looking at comments and like on social media when it was announced that they were filming part of it, like no positive comments. Everyone was very upset about it. And if you're in the reality TV show Bravo world, like, you know, like they're just not good people. Like, I just don't like watching them. They're very annoying. And, you know, on the other hand, it's like they are so willing to just be on TV that if the Valley were looking for different people to bring on, of course they know they're going to say yes. So I don't know what's going to happen. We will see. I just, you know, not going to want to watch it anymore. But staying in that Vanderpump Rules world, we have a kind of crazy story. ARIANA Madix, who obviously was on Vanderpump Rules, she was on Dancing with the Stars and was the host of Love Island USA this past season. Her brother got into some trouble. And when I heard this story, I didn't believe it at first, because in my head, I'm like, what kind of idiot would think they could get away with something like this? But it's true. Basically, her brother Jeremy was arrested for possession of 100 pounds of marijuana at the Orlando airport, which is the airport I fly out of. So that's and I saw a comment saying, like, can he just be arrested for, like, general stupidity? Because how do you think you're getting through an airport with 100 pounds of marijuana? I don't know. So basically, it was a scheme to transport the marijuana through the Orlando International Airport. He was supposed to board a flight to Frankfurt, Germany, but his accomplice, Jonah, they could not pass through security and were busted. What? If you guys have seen Modern Family, it's like, what was the plan, Phil? What was the plan? So anyway, that happened. I didn't believe it at first, because I'm like, this is crazy. Like, no normal headed person thinks that they can get away with that. Clearly they thought they could and they didn't. So, that's that. Kind of crazy. Yeah. Please arrest him for stupidity, honestly, at this point. Okay, well, that is all the stories of the week. We're going to jump into all of our recaps. And then again, even if you're skipping over the recaps, which don't skip over, but if you are, make sure to stay to the end, because we have our Love Island, hello, it's my mind, our Literally What segment. Also, I mention this all the time, but I do have timestamps in my description. So if you want to skip to a particular spot, a particular recap, a particular story, or just kind of see what I'm talking about, just look down below and all the times are there for you. Okay, so I'm going to do the Bachelorette recap really quickly, because I don't have a lot to say about it, but I still want to talk about it, because this season is going by incredibly fast. I feel like there's way shorter amount of episodes. B, I'm so bored with this cast. Like, I genuinely am just bored watching them. And C, it's the first time where, like, I haven't enjoyed watching the lead. And I'm just, this whole season, I'm just not, like, I genuinely, like, I don't care who wins. I'm not trying to figure things out for myself. I normally care a lot more when it comes to shows like this, but this season, I don't know what it is. Like, I don't like it at all. But, so this was the hometowns episode. She had 4 hometowns, and, I felt going in, like, I didn't really know the guys. Like, I don't know. And maybe that's just, I don't know. I don't know why this season feels different, but I don't feel like I knew the guys as well. And so I was like, maybe going into hometowns, I'll understand them a little bit more. I'll have a favorite. Like, I don't know. And, it didn't happen, of course. But our first one was Houston with Devin. I've said from the beginning, I never liked Devin. I never liked how he was part of the drama. But also, like, just, he would make weird comments, like snarky comments about Jen, and like if she brought her ex back, like he would be done with her. And just I just never liked him from the beginning, and I didn't realize that people did like him and they thought that he is going to be the winner. Like, I didn't know. And obviously that kind of goes back to me being like, I don't know the guys. I don't feel a connection between them and Jen. So I don't know. Watching the hometown date though, I swear to God, if I am literally have my hair and makeup done, I'm getting ready to film my first hometown of The Bachelorette, and all of a sudden all of these people come running up and I'm supposed to run a mile with them. No, like, absolutely not. I don't understand these dates. I couldn't believe it. And then, like, they were running, and then you could tell production was like, okay, now run, stop on this bridge and kiss, and then the rest of the running group is gonna run past you. And I just, like, I was cringing watching it. And then when they pulled up to his family's house, they had the, like, when it's someone's birthday or like it's the first day of school and they'll have the little signs in the yard, like my family and like my old neighbors used to do that all the time, and it's cute, but it's like, this is giving so cheesy. And then just the fact that Devin kept talking about, like, how his whole family has had failed relationships. And, you know, he would be like, my brother, my mother, my dad, like, all of you guys have failed relationships. And it's like, maybe you shouldn't be airing out all of your family's dirty laundry and how, you know, maybe they don't want you talking about how you have failed relationships as a family. And I guess that was kind of like, because everyone, you know, on The Bachelor, Bachelorette has to have a sob story in a way. So I guess that was his way of, like, I don't know, trying to say you had a hard life. But also Jen, I think she has, you know, struggles with her family and parents. So maybe that will bring them closer together. But I don't know. They seem like they have a good connection. They seem like maybe they'll be the ones to end up together. Like, I don't know, to be completely honest. Because this whole season is just, like, confusing me. Okay. Connecticut with Jeremy. I love Jeremy. I don't like Jeremy for Jen. I don't see them compatible at all. And spoiler, he was the one that went home, obviously. But first of all, the date where they literally went to the creepy grocery store. They clearly gave them zero budgets for dates because what have they done I feel like past hometown dates, it's been more exciting. I don't know. But then when she met his family, the mom was killing me because she was like, well, this isn't a game, this isn't a show. And I'm like, I mean, it is a show, but you know, she was just basically kind of being like, well, how do you feel about him? And like, I don't know how it's gonna work and blah 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 blah, and just having a lot of doubts. Just there's always that one family that has to be the one that has doubts. And what I'll never understand about Bachelor Nation, and when they go back to see the parents, like, the parents will say the same thing, like, well, how do you feel about all these other guys? And can you believe that she's dating all these other people? And it's like, that's the point of the show, though. Like, this show has been on for years and years and years, and we know the process at this point. So why are we asking the same repeat questions? Because that's, like, what your son decided to go on. He decided to go on this show. So I don't understand why we're acting oblivious to how this show works, but whatever. Another thing I noticed about Jen and kind of like why she might be rubbing me the wrong way is she keeps saying that like a lot of the guys are guarded, and then she says she's a hopeless romantic and she falls really quickly. And to me, I'm like, well, maybe you shouldn't be falling quickly because it's not working out. And just because these guys are going slower than you, that doesn't mean that you need to be second guessing it, because the process is very quick. They don't really have that much time together. And so when she was telling, you know, Jeremy's family that he was guarded and blah, 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 and he was like, I don't feel like I'm acting that way. Like, I feel like I'm being very upfront and like myself. And I feel like all the guys are being themselves, but Jen is like, well, if you're not gonna be, you know, falling in love and, you know, falling in love as fast as I do, then, you know, you're guarded and we're not gonna work and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, that, no, because you guys get what I'm saying? I just feel like if the guys aren't moving as fast as she thinks they should, then she's like kind of having these doubts, which you shouldn't be going about it that way. You want the guys to kind of be going at their own pace and like making sure that they're thinking these things through, because it is the rest of your life if you end up together. So anyway, those are some thoughts. Jonathan's date in California. I mean, I like Jonathan. I don't like them together. But I love Jonathan. So yeah. Marcus, I know that everyone said that Devin and Jen had the best connection for hometowns, but I kind of felt like Marcus and Jen had the best hometown, just like connection wise. And like Jen like crying about him. Like, I don't, like, after watching that, I feel like it's gonna be Marcus and Devin at the end, but I don't know. I don't know, because we'll see what happens. But I think Jonathan she'll send, but he's my favorite. And then Marcus and Devin. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know. Let me guys know what you think, because again, like, I don't feel a crazy connection with all of them. So I don't know. I'm just here spilling the tea and my thoughts. But now we're going to go ahead and get into the Love Island reunion, which, you guys, I'm actually like pissed off because I thought it was going to be the craziest reunion. There was going to be like 2 parts, 3 hours. They were going to show all this extra footage. And it was literally like an hour and 20 minutes, not even, because by the time they actually got into anything worth talking about, it was like not even an hour. I was insanely disappointed with the reunion. I think the level of famous that everyone got and the level of just attention the show had, they should have done way better than they did. And I'm honestly very upset with Peacock. Like, my expectations were not even close to like a third of the way met. That, like, it just didn't meet, it met zero expectation for me. And we're going to get into all of it. I took a lot of notes, so buckle up. And again, if you're skipping this, at least listen to the Literally What segment, okay? But we're going to get into all of it. I took a lot of notes. My head might be all over the place, but just bear with me. We're going to get into all of it together. I should have brought a water up here because I'm literally dying of thirst. Okay, right off the bat, the reunion seating was, I thought, very awkward. Normally on reunions, it's the host in the middle and they have everyone else kind of on the side. But the fact that Ariana was just like in the middle and people were next to her and behind her and she was just like looking all around, it was very awkward. I did not like the seating at all. I don't know what they were talking about. Hannah's makeup, I just have to touch on it because when you're baking your face that much, especially when you're in harsh TV lighting, it's going to show. And I know that they posted on Love Island, like all the girls and guys at the reunion. And whoever the photographer was definitely doesn't know about angles and lighting, because a lot of the girls did look, you know, not that they didn't look good, but it was just like bad angle. It was like the guy was pointing upwards. But I think that when you are wearing that much makeup, like, that's why I think you need like makeup artists when it comes to such heavy TV lighting. And I wonder, that's what made me wonder, like, they must not have had a makeup artist. Maybe some of them got one, but I feel like when you're that big of a show, they should have had makeup artists for everyone and more professional photographers, because that's just me. Like, the makeup you do every day is going to be a lot different than when you're on, you know, television for all of America. And it just kind of like upset me that they kept bringing it up, but also like, then make them more prepared. If it, like, it's a big reunion, you're probably gonna have tons of people watching this, so they should have taken better care of all the contestants, but whatever. Did not like that the Costa girls were there. I don't really think they really needed to be there and had any insightful things to say. They're just like annoying to me. Yeah, like, I just don't understand. What else? Okay, let's talk about Final Four. The Final Four, I feel like they really didn't talk at all. We barely heard from Serena and Cordell. Nicole and Kendall had their big fight, which we'll talk about. Janae and Kenny looked amazing, but it's just kind of like they didn't really get to touch on a lot of people. Leah Miguel, yes, but like, I feel like they spent the majority of the time talking about the fire pit scene, Andrea, and then Kayla and Aaron. I just, like, there was so much I feel like we wanted to hear and see, and they didn't give it to us, and it was just very, very, very upsetting. But let's talk about first Nicole and Kendall. The fact that they started with this was crazy to me. And you know, the whole Nicole Kendall situation, I have so much to say about it, and I feel so strongly that I don't even know where to start with this. I think when it came out, his video, when it came out right when he exited the villa, I think it is so awful that it happened at that moment in time, because then it was like he had no time to come back, not only from being locked in this villa away from reality, but to come back and not only deal with just like this fame and like all this, but now to deal with this situation that no one should have to go through. And it was probably one of the most awful things that someone could go through. And I don't even know, like, I just have so much to say, the whole situation. Okay, so basically, I feel like a lot of people were getting onto Nicole because, you know, she comes out of the villa, and obviously this video comes out about Kendall, but she's the only one staying silent, and he is kind of still trying to act okay. Like, he made a statement about the video, and then he kind of went on, and, you know, whenever we would spot, you know, the cast together, Nicole and Kendall were not together, and a lot of people were like, you know, oh, Nicole, like, never liked him because of the way that she acted in the villa. I didn't even like her from the start, but also she just was, like, super quiet. And it was weird. And, you know, then we get to the reunion and we're kind of like, you know, what the hell happened with them? Because they kept saying they were together, and, you know, it didn't seem that way. And basically it came out that Kendall lied about like when the video was actually sent and who it was to. okay, yes, he lied to Nicole about that, but this is where it's so hard, because I cannot imagine going through something like that and what Kendall went through. It is awful. That is probably going to be the most traumatic thing, at least one of the most traumatic things that has ever and will ever happen to him. And the fact that they brought it up right then and there, and he had to talk about it on national television, and the fact that Nicole waited to bring it up until the reunion, the fact that she could sit there and still say that she loves him but do that to him on national television, I think it is disgusting. I also saw today that she went on the Vile Files, and this was before, you know, Kendall apparently called her and broke up with her, but they were supposedly still together when she went on this podcast, but all she did was she sat there and she shit talked him, and she talked about the situation when Kendall hasn't even been able to talk about a situation. He went through something traumatic, and she's sitting here talking about him on a podcast and on national television about it. It makes me so mad, because if she said that, she does love him, like she's been saying, they should have talked about that in private and tried to work through that. And at the reunion, he was like, I was trying to come see you, but you wouldn't let me. And then she was like, oh, well, you just said that so that you could say that on the reunion. Okay, but like, he was trying to work it out with you. He apologized. He didn't know what to do, because that's such an embarrassing, humiliating thing. And it made me so mad how she handled it all. I think it's awful behavior on her part. And yes, like, he did lie to her. And if she doesn't want to be with someone who lies, okay, then handle it off social media. Don't be going on talking about him on podcasts about this awful thing that happened to him when he hasn't even spoken on it. And then to go on reality TV and have him, you could tell he was literally like, I've had panic attacks. I have panic attacks all the time. You could tell he was literally having a panic attack on national television, having to talk about this. And he literally was like, I think he was honestly trying not to cry, being like, I couldn't even tell my family what was going on. Like, the last thing I thought was like, having to tell you when it actually happened, and have you leaving me and dealing with that. And like, I think the situation was just so messed up that he didn't know what to do in the moment. And yes, he was wrong for lying to her, but I think no one's in his shoes. No one understands how he feels and felt in that moment. And then for Nicole to be acting like this and making herself seem like a victim is just awful, 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 awful. I'm just so upset, especially after seeing her go on the Vile Files and talk about Kendall the whole time. And then it came out that on the 18th of August, he called her and basically like they ended things, which honestly, yes, he should have. And she should have, if she was going to be acting like this. They clearly weren't going to work out well. And they both posted statements, and his statement was very well thought out and nice compared to her statement. She made it honestly sound like a police report. Like, on this date, he said that we were going to make it work, and then on this date, he broke up with me, and blah, 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 blah. But she's literally the one that's going around like bashing him, and like he's going through this traumatic thing, and you're just you're the one crying, being mad at him. Like, that's all I have to say. That's all I have to say. And I'm not condoning lying. Like, you should not lie to your partner, but you also should be able to handle this privately and understand that what he went through was traumatic, and not have to go bash him all around. Like, it just made me so, so mad, especially just seeing his face at the reunion talking about it. I feel so horrible for him. I hope he finds someone who actually is there to support him and want the best for him, and understand that, you know, some things happen, and yes, we might not want to deal with it, and yes, we might tell a little white lie, but like, if you love someone, you work through it, and you don't go and bash your person. And that's all I have to say about the situation. Okay, next. Janae pulling out the receipts, especially with Andrea. Loved that, because Andrea was running her little mouth the whole entire time they were filming the rest of the season, and she was trying to come on the reunion and act all like fine and like, oh, well, I only act this way, blah, blah, blah. No, we're gonna pull out receipts because you're the worst. You're the worst. Yeah, anyway. Oh, one more thing about the Nicole Kendall situation. She's the one that like went silent. She kept saying like, well, I was getting backlash because of Kendall, and it's like, no, it was because he went through this, and you're the one being so silent. And like, I genuinely thought that she was just being silent because she just didn't want to be with him anymore, and I still feel like that way, that she just didn't want to be with him, and she was embarrassed that the person that she ended up with had this thing come out. And you know, I think she was the one that was embarrassed and was like, well, if I end it, then I look like an asshole. But then she looks even more like one because she's just talking crap and like being so mean. Anyway, I can't. Anyway, I'll be done with it. But yeah, pulling out the receipts was honestly so smart. And I know a lot of people were kind of hating on them and being like, see, like, Janae and Leah are mean girls. And it's like, no, they were treated horribly by producers and Andrea and everyone when they left the villa was talking about them. And well, here you go. We're going to pull out receipts and we are going to, as they say, stand on business as they should have. Aaron and Kayla, I guess we'll get into it. Basically, they are broken up and I genuinely cannot believe Aaron told Kayla the night of the reunion, not before when they were together, but the reunion, he waited to tell her all the stuff that he did with Daniela and to Daniela. It's like, why would you wait until then? Why would you wait until then? You are so manipulative. And she went on another podcast after the reunion and said, basically, like, they broke up, but then they were together kind of hooking up in New York and then, you know, LA. And he had all this time and opportunity to say something about what happened and he did not. And then at the reunion, he tells her. That is insane to me. I genuinely, like, I can't with him. And I'm so proud of Kayla and just like how she is, you know, handling this whole situation. I think that she grew and learned a lot from that. And she was on a podcast again, you know, and she was like, he's 27 years old. I'm 22. Like, I feel like he should be handling this much more maturely. And I'm the 22-year-old and I'm the one handling this maturely. I just, like, cannot with these people. But her and Liv are actually going to be moving into in LA together. They're going to be moving in together in LA, which I think is amazing. I think seeing the friendships come out of the show, that's one of the main reasons this season was so just amazing. Okay, the fire pit scene. Everyone wanted the fire pit scene. They showed it. It was so boring. Like, literally nothing happened. And again, it was not Leah. It was all of them who came to an agreement together. And Liv definitely was taking charge. She talked 90% of the time. So, whatever. But, yeah, there's a lot that I missed. Another thing that happened is when they were getting ready to film, people said that Kayla's phone screen background was her and Aaron. And she cleared it up by saying, like, she has the update where it switches the phone wallpaper every few minutes, and she just didn't take that off, which makes a lot of sense. But something, like, I wish we heard about, I talked about it, I think, last week, that apparently there was 2 people hooking up that, like, no one clocked, and I wish they talked about that. Someone was talking about on the After Sun that someone had bad breath. We didn't hear about that. I feel like there was just so much more that we wanted. We really only got to see the fire pit scene that was like extras. I want more. I need way more, but I don't know. I want more. And they should have done a part 2 because there's no way there's only like an hour of them talking. And we didn't hear from pretty much like any of the other cast. It was really Andrea and then Leah and Janae talking to her and then Kayla and Aaron and then like literally like no one talked. So I just don't understand. I was kind of upset with the whole situation because I hyped it up so much in my head and they hyped it up too. I feel like everyone hyped it up. Like there were pictures of Liv with her hair all messed up. People thought she got in a fight. There was just like so much surrounding the reunion and then we got absolutely nothing. It's fine, but I'm just still annoyed. And maybe they'll come out with a part 2. I don't know. But all I know is that Leah apparently is done with Peacock. They had a panel right after the reunion and she did not go to it. They went to the Empire State Building for promo. She did not go to it at all. So I don't know what happened with them. I thought they were going to address it on the reunion. Maybe it was because of other stuff that happened that we didn't get to see. But she's done with Peacock, done with Love Island. Yeah, crazy. The reunion let me down. It really did. But, you know, I know Kayla and Aaron are done. Kendall and Nicole are obviously done now because they ended things, which is probably for the best. But Janae and Kenny, I love them. I hope they stay together forever and ever. Serena and Cordell, same with them. I love them. And I wish I could just rewatch the whole season from the beginning for the first time because what an amazing roller coaster ride that was. But yeah, if you're listening to this Peacock, like give us a part 2 because I know you guys have so much that you could share. And why are you not giving us what we want? Seriously, give us what we want. Give us what we want. And with that, you know, I'll keep updating you guys on any more Love Island drama because I'm obsessed with all of them. But we're going to go ahead and get into our Literally What segment. We have 2 amazing submissions that I chose. Again, if you want to write in, please write in. Let's get into it. I'm not engaged, but I've been dating my boyfriend for a while, so naturally I'm going to start thinking of what my wedding will be like. Yes, we all do that. Anyways, I could see us getting engaged within the next 1 to 2 years. So I've been thinking about a wedding, and I've come to the conclusion I don't want to do a typical wedding. Every time I think about having a wedding, I just don't want anything to do with it. I want to just have a ceremony with immediate family and call it a day. Don't want to waste my money and stress over something that's supposed to celebrate us and be intimate. I would personally rather use the money for a nice honeymoon, down payment for a house. The only issue is my friends I have told this to seem to get mad, but I don't get why. It's my day, and if I don't want to deal with that, then why is that anyone's business? I know it's not traditional, but I just don't want a wedding. What do you think? This is one of my favorite topics to talk about. I feel so, what's the word? Like, why can I not think of the word? But I have so much to say when it comes to weddings, and just so much. I think the whole wedding industry in general milks as much money as they can from brides and the families paying for weddings. I think it's so overpriced. I think it's ridiculous. My wedding, I would say it was in the mid-lower range of what I feel like people typically pay in today's society. I cut out so many things that I wanted to have, but everything is just so expensive. Obviously, like, my wedding was one of the most special days of my whole entire life. I will never forget about that night. It was so amazing, and obviously it is just about like being with your closest people with you and celebrating, you know, marrying your favorite person in the whole entire world. But weddings are a lot, and I will say I have never been so stressed as when I was planning my wedding. It was the most stressful time of my life. I now have like literally like 5 gray hairs, which I swear are from planning my wedding. It's a lot, and I think if you already are not set on having a wedding, don't do it. I think saving the money for a honeymoon down payment is so much more important. And you know, I had all these thoughts in my head too, planning my wedding. Like, do I really want a wedding? Like, do I want to spend this and that and that? And I did cut out a lot, and I really did make it how I wanted my wedding to be. I did a lot of things that were non-traditional, because it is, at the end of the day, it is mine and my husband's day. And, you know, you mentioned that, you know, when you mention it to your friends that they're kind of getting mad. I don't know what it is about weddings, but it brings out the worst in people, and it brings out people's true colors. And when I was going through my whole wedding process, like, so much crap went down, which is like a whole other story in itself, but you learn a lot about people, and for some reason people make it about themselves. I don't know what it is about your own wedding that people all of a sudden think that their opinions matter and it's their day when it's not. It's literally your day. I feel like I grew so much as a person just planning my wedding and dealing with people, because how are you going to sit here and come to the most important day of my life, but also be judgmental about things and thinking that your opinion is the only one that matters when it's my day? So if your friends are saying that, keep an eye out on that, because they're probably going to have more to say when it comes to getting closer to when you actually are engaged and married. The real true friends and people who are going to be in your life forever are going to be the ones who are supporting you no matter what. And it's not their wedding. At the end of the day, like, people who are going to maybe not agree with your opinions and being non-traditional, are they the ones paying for it? Or are they the ones that are going to be getting a free meal and getting to see you marry the love of your life and be there in that special day? Like, it's crazy to me. But what I will tell you is, if you're already thinking about it and you already know what you would do with the money you would spend on a wedding, 100,000% do what you and your husband or, well, boyfriend want to do. And, you know, just make sure, this is what I would tell everyone. I spent a lot of the money more so on things that I knew would last me forever. So, like, I got a videographer, I got a photographer so I could look back on those memories. The little details don't really matter. So as long as you are just there with your people and you are happy and, you know, it's what you want to do, don't let anyone else tell you what to do. Like, that's one thing. I pretty much, like, kept my mouth shut with a lot of what I wanted to do and just kind of did it. You're just going to have to kind of do it. And if people disagree, they don't have to come at the end of the day. It's your life. It's not their life. And I feel so strongly about that. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a great idea. I feel like a lot of people are kind of leaning more towards non-traditional weddings and making them smaller. And yeah, do what you want to do at the end of the day. So honestly, I think you have a really good head on your shoulders thinking this out beforehand. And yeah, I'm excited to see, you know, definitely follow up whenever you do get engaged and let us know what you ended up doing. And if you come across any problems, I Promise you I have advice for all of it because I went through a lot with wedding planning. So if you have any other advice you need, write in again, DM me. I am always here for wedding stuff. I could write a book about it. All right, let's get into our final submission that I chose today, which is kind of funny, and definitely, something that would be written in 2024. Okay, I am in desperate need of some advice about a situation that I guess is funny, but at the end of the day, very frustrating. My best friends and I have always been addicted to TikTok, but lately it's reached a whole new level with some of our friend group. They've started communicating exclusively in TikTok quotes, not exaggerating. At first, it would just be a quote here and there, and it was kind of funny, but now it's constant. Anytime we ask them how their day was, they'll say, I don't give a damn, or if I suggest grabbing lunch, they'll say, let's make sure it's somewhere demure, make sure it's somewhere where we can be nice and demure. They'll even text entire conversations using nothing but just different TikTok quotes and memes, and they've gotten pretty good at finding the perfect line for every situation. While it's impressive, it's making it really hard to have a normal conversation with them. I've tried playing along, but it's literally getting so annoying, and I'm just missing our regular chats. I don't want to hurt their feelings, but I'm worried it's getting out of hand. What do? Do I just embrace it and start quoting back? Or is there a way to try to get them to speaking like regular human beings again? Girl, oh my gosh, I cannot tell you, and I'm going to sound like a 24-year-old now, but I am so sick of hearing these same phrases over and over and over again. I hate it. And, especially the demure. I thought it was kind of funny when I heard it like 2 weeks ago because I saw a clip from Gilmore Girls, and I was like, oh, that's so funny that, she said it in Gilmore Girls, and now everyone's saying it now. But now it's like everything is demure, and I can't even stand. Oh my gosh, I can't. Literally, do not ever say that word to me, please. I beg of you. I hate it so much. Like, stop. Get some different vocabulary. That's what I'm saying. Like, if their only vocabulary is from TikTok, they need to get the hell off of TikTok. And I think that's just speaks to our society right now. And I've fallen victim. Like, I am on TikTok a lot. I'm on social media a lot. And sometimes there will be a phrase from TikTok that's going viral that I will just randomly say in a conversation and in a response to someone. And after, immediately, I'm like, why did you just say that? You're a 24-year-old. You have a much better vocabulary than that. And it's not even like I'm joking with my friends. I'm having a normal conversation with someone and I'm quoting a TikTok sound that's going viral. So I get it. This is probably very, very annoying if they're using different ones all the time and have different quotes for different situations. I will say, number one, in general, I feel like TikTok trends and viral sounds come and go. So maybe this is just a phase. I don't know how long this has been going on with them, but if it's a specific phrase that, maybe it's trending right now, but in a week or two, they'll maybe stop and it's just kind of like what they're doing right now. But if it has been going on a while and you're kind of sick of it, you can just be like, listen, I get that you guys love using all these TikTok sounds in conversation, but like, I just can't keep up with it. I'd rather just like talk normally. Is that okay? Blah, blah, blah. Cause yeah, that seems like it would get very annoying. And this is just a PSA to everyone. If you are strictly speaking in TikTok sounds, get off your phone and set a time limit, okay? Because it's getting out of hand. I think I got an email from like some random company I signed up for years ago, and the headline was literally demure in the subject line. I'm like, it's getting out of hand. So I get it. It's kind of funny in a way, but also I can tell it's definitely going to be annoying. So either way, to see if it passes or if it doesn't, just maybe send them a little nice text and, see how they take it. I'm sure they'll have some kind of TikTok-y response for it. But thank you guys for who wrote in. I really enjoy reading your guys' submissions. It just makes me feel a little bit closer to you guys. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'm just so excited. We have a lot of fun things coming up. We're getting into like my favorite months of the year. I feel like there's always so many fun news stories. There's, just so many things going on, some, fun things to talk about. As always, make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube. I upload my videos every week. Follow the Instagram. If you're listening on Spotify, give us a 5-star review, because if you're listening to this, you clearly like it, so just give it a 5-star review. Write in if you feel inclined to do so, and as always, I will see you next time for some hot gossip, hot take, stories, and advice that will have you saying literally what. Bye guys.